You've probably heard that a business plan is essential for starting a business, right? And yes, it really is important to start any type of business. If you want to learn more about this subject, stay with us in this video because we will show you the 8 key steps to put together a business plan in a simple and super effective way. So, let's go! First of all, what is a business plan? A business plan is a document that will outline goals, dates, and all the important details on how to achieve certain objectives of your project. That's why it's considered a tool that provides a true portrait of the market, the product, and the attitudes of the entrepreneur. The business plan aims to minimize the risks and uncertainties of the project as much as possible and needs to identify the business's potential, but also possible flaws, threats, and errors in projects before putting it into practice in the market. It will be with this that you will be able to analyze whether the business model is viable or not. But always remember, a business plan will guide you, but you don't always need to follow it faithfully. After all, it is completely changeable throughout the project. Therefore, it will be up to you to identify the moment to update and change it as it evolves. Following this reasoning, the business plan should be prepared from the moment you have already chosen the type of market you will operate in. So now we will show you the 8 key points on how to put together a business plan in a simple and very effective way. Basically, a business plan consists of the following topics: an executive summary, market analysis, marketing plan, operational plan, financial plan, scenario building, strategic evaluation, and business plan evaluation. That said, we will now explain each of these topics. Executive summary. This will be an initial summary of your business plan, serving as a brief presentation of your business for whoever will have access to this plan. First, it should cover points such as a description of the company, who the entrepreneurs are, products and or services that will be offered, market, location of the company, mission, legal form, tax classification, and what the initial investment will be, among other points. Market analysis. Without customers, there is no business. First of all, point out the situation of the market that will be worked on, analyzing whether there is demand for the product or service in question and how big it is. Target audience. It is necessary to study your target audience very well, defining points such as who will buy, what they will buy, what is the reason for the purchase, what are their buying habits, what is their lifestyle, where they live, their age group, their cultural level, their income. All the information you have about your customers can be entered here. Therefore, the idea is to map out as much of your target audience's profile as possible so that you can understand their behavior and analyze whether it is consistent with your business. The market situation in which you will operate. Research and understand how the market behaves, whether there is growth due to demand, or if it has been stagnant for some time. For example, a growing market can be exciting, but if it is close to stagnation, this can present a risk to your business. Competitors. Study the competitors that your target audience seeks to meet their needs. Once you have done this, point out how your business model would provide a better solution compared to what is currently offered by the competition. Suppliers. This item is often underestimated by some entrepreneurs, which can be a big mistake. Therefore, study carefully to build your advantages in the market, since suppliers will be your long-term partners in the entrepreneurial journey that you will face from now on. Marketing plan. Understand the product or service that will be sold and develop how it will be constructed and promoted. This will be the moment when you will decide how to position your product service in the market. What will be the price? How will it be promoted? What distribution channels will we use? How will products and services be delivered to your end customer? Operational plan. Determine how your business or company will operate. That is, describe what the team will be like, the physical or digital structure required, production capacity and the time required for each stage are the items that will be worked on at this point. Financial plan. Now it's time to define how the cash flow will work in your business. How big is the initial investment required? What is the working capital? That is, the amount of money you need to operate the company, especially in the first few months. What are the operating costs? When will the break-even point be? What is the minimum revenue that the business needs to generate to avoid losses? What will be the return on investment and the income statements? By analyzing these points, you will be able to assess how profitable your business or company will be. Scenario building. Building market simulations and projecting how responses would be in different situations to assess business capacity is what we call scenario building. In other words, project a pessimistic and an optimistic scenario for your business for a certain period. If you prefer, you can even add a medium-term scenario as well. After that, analyze what actions would need to be taken for each of these scenarios. Strategic assessment. Evaluate the internal and external environments to identify potential opportunities and threats. In addition, make clear the strengths and weaknesses of the business or company to know how it would behave and react to adverse situations. And finally, evaluate the business plan. Evaluate whether the business or company is viable or not. But remember that the market is constantly changing, so always make sure your business plan is up to date with reality, and do this as many times as you think necessary. And these were the 8 key steps for you to put together your own business plan. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to know more about how to set up and manage your own business, visit our YouTube channel where we have several videos about this subject, and if you liked it, share this video with your friends and family to help them too. Thanks and see you next time.